Please ignore the mountain of laundry on my bed. It's there to remind me to put it away later. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video. This is not one of my normal videos. I usually do a bunch of gameplays and I usually stream, but I wanted to make this video. And in today's video, I will be talking about everything wrong with Hogwarts Legacy. To be fair, I think Hogwarts Legacy is an absolute great game. I have over 100 hours between all of my accounts, and I even have Platinum on my PlayStation. But the game is not without its faults. And here's what they are. I think there's way too much repeat dialogue. Almost every time you go into the room of requirement, Deke says something like,
Deke thinks you should be proud of all the potions you've brewed.
Yes, Deke is very proud of all the potions that we've brewed. Yeah. Not to mention, whenever you're on a companion mission, and let's say you use a unforgivable curse, for example, they'll usually mention something about it, but it'll be the same thing that they mention every time you do it. The same thing could be said when you play Summoner's Court. Every time you do something, they'll say more or less the same thing. Do not even get me started on the Flu Flame lady. She's annoying.
I've always said that travel broadens the mind. You can't imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented flu powder. Off on another adventure, are we? How nice to see you, my young friend. Handy resource indeed, your field guide. I'm most pleased to be included. You can't imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented flu powder. Off on another adventure, are we?
It usually cycles between those things, but I mean, once you do it a lot, it gets annoying. The game uses way too many repeat assets. Let me show you what I mean. Keep your eye on the guy that's shushing you right at the bottom and the guy with the red vest right up there. All you gotta do is turn around, and right there are the exact same portraits super close next to you. There's another one right there. And another one right there. And across the hallway, there's this guy in the red vest once again. And we can't forget about the shusher right over here. And that's just in the grand staircase and the hallway right next to it. There's way more in the other common rooms, other parts of the castle. It's a lot. Your choices don't actually matter. Well, not in a meaningful way. Let me explain. Here are pretty much the choices that you have to make. 1, what color robes do you want to wear? Because there's literally one side quest in the entire game that differs based on what house you choose. I don't even think your common room actually matters. As far as home bases go, you spend more time in your room of requirement than your common room. And everything else is basically a few small pieces of dialogue. You have to choose whether or not you want to learn unforgivable curses. You have to choose whether or not you want to send Sebastian to Azkaban or not. And if you choose not to send him to Azkaban, you can still choose to learn the unforgivable curses at the end of the game. There are certain side quests where the NPCs will ask you to save or rescue a beast and return it to them. You can choose whether to keep it for yourself or actually return it to their owners. That's a choice whether you want to make as well, and in my own personal opinion, I think it's actually kind of worth to keep the animals for yourself. Way too much Revelio. I know that the whole idea behind field guide pages was to kind of teach you about Hogwarts and the castle, but I feel like they could have done this in a more meaningful way. Maybe a story mission, maybe a tour, something other than that, but for people like me, I was just trying to get the collectible so I can complete my field guide and be out. I really didn't read the field guide pages. Unnecessary collectibles. So once you go through the game, there are a number of things that you need to do. For example, Merlin trials. You have to do a certain amount to complete it in your field guide, but then the map is littered with another almost 50 more Merlin trials. And there's no reward for doing them all beside a trophy. To me, it just feels like a giant chore rather than something to actually do. Honestly, anything more and I feel like I'm nitpicking, but here are some of the other things that I would have liked to see in this game. We'll start with the most obvious one, Quidditch. I feel like having Quidditch in this game would have been awesome. Maybe you're on the Quidditch team and you have to play a couple of matches. And it could have been pretty basic and I think they could have killed it too. I wish the game had real interactable NPCs. Kind of like Bully, you know, you highlight them and you can either choose to be nice to them or be mean to them. You know, and I feel like it could have been fun. And I know like in the base game without mods, you can't like Avada Kedavra or hit anybody with a spell. But what if they interacted to you when you try to do something like that? You know, you're aiming at a professor or something like that, and you hit the Avada Kedavra button, and all of a sudden they're just like, what? Did you just try to Avada Kedavra me? And then they turn you into a little bunny or something like that, or a fairy. I thought that would have been sick.
Pathetic. Oh no, you don't listen to me! I teach you to curse someone when their back is turned.
I don't know if anybody else would have want this, but I wish there was a more in-depth class system, kind of like Bully, you know, where I would have to go to that same class multiple times to actually do something, and it provided me with certain rewards or something, you know? I would have loved a seasonal side quest and an optional one, just something that you can miss, that you don't have to do, that would have acknowledged the change in seasons, because that was one of the things that the game really tried to sell you on, was the adapted seasons. When Halloween comes around, Hogsmeade gets dressed up in Halloween attire, but there's nothing that acknowledges it at all. Same thing with Christmas. There's a bunch of Christmas trees, but there's nothing. It would have been cool to have like a side quest or something where you get like a Christmas gift or something, you know, but they didn't acknowledge it at all. So yeah, I just felt like there was a lot of missed opportunity there for sure. Let me know, guys. Did you agree with my list? Is there something I missed? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.